Hey, comic lovers, EMoney, the old man, and Thor the Dog of Thunder here. But you're a good boy. You behaving? Yeah. So Thor had a bit of a breakthrough last week. I told you about the hiking trip with the pity, right? So last Monday, the trainer came to the house, and Thor met her Great Dane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sit.
Yeah, so we weren't really sure how that was going to go. She seemed pretty confident. There you go. Good boy. So we slowly introduced them, first by having them, pass each other on opposite sides of the street. And then, she moves from where she was, and then Thor goes to where she had been and gets her scent. And then, kind of maybe 10 feet apart, pass each other by. Now, Thor did one little bark, but the trainer said that was a frustration bark, not a aggression bark, because he wanted to get to her and he couldn't just yet. And then finally, after passing them by 2 or 3 times pretty close, we let them, loose leash, get to each other, and the Great Dane seemed totally disinterested because I'm pretty sure she has done this a few times before with her owner.
She probably met many dogs.
Yeah, so she was totally bored and was hardly giving Thor any attention. But Thor, he goes up, sniffs her butt, checks her out, and he was totally cool. I mean, just 2 months ago, I wouldn't have thought that was possible.
I mean, once you've sniffed somebody's butt, of course you're cool.
Yeah. So they even, walked together for a little bit. So, yeah, really proud of Thor. You were such a good boy. You were a good boy. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. All right, so there's Thor. So today we are reviewing...
Don't get the big head. Do not get the big head.
All right, we have our comic reviews. We have our comic previews. And I have a special Spider-Man related Stump the Old Man question related to our yard sale, our garage sale that we have out here every Saturday. So all that to look forward to, and we're going to check back here with Thor in just a little bit. All right.
Don't go anywhere.
We all know who's really in charge here. This is Back Issues. All right, comic lovers. So before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on your notifications, give us a thumbs up, and if you like, leave us a comment. If you have recommendations for comics that we have not read yet, or you don't like our assessments of them, let us know about it.
I dare you.
Yeah. All right. So we had a very close race this week of all the comic books we read. So we ended up with a technically seven-way tie.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to make some choices here.
Well, we did what we always do. We had a contest.
Oh, okay.
And I got to pick what the contest was this week, so I went with a speed typing contest. Figure I have the edge. I spent a lot of time at a computer keyboard. EMoney, not so much. He usually works his tablet or his phone. And I thought I had the edge, but no. He edged me out. He beat me in words per minute by 0.2.
Thank you, Mr. Batcher. High school computer class.
You suck. Any rate, so he got to lay all this out. So,
all right. So we are doing our 4 mentions that just got barely edged out of the top 3. So our first one is...
It's from the old Milestone books back in the 90s. They're relaunching all their titles. We've already seen Static. In fact, this last week, Static number 2 came out. It was pretty good.
Yep.
This is Icon and Rocket, season 1, number 1.
All right, so in this one, we get kind of an origin story of how Icon met Rocket. And which one's which?
Icon's the old dude.
Icon's the old dude. Okay. So I, learned some stuff about Icon that I didn't know. I didn't know he had origins that kind of are in line with Superman to a point.
Sure. I mean, he's from another planet.
Right. So we get how he's lived his life over the last couple hundred years. And it's interesting stuff here. I like how they met each other and, learned some stuff I didn't know. So that's why it got 3.5 shields.
I'm glad you liked it because you didn't read the original run in the 90s. But I enjoyed it back then. I thought they were good stories.
Yeah, I was around 10 or 12, so it was hard to talk me into new stuff back then.
He was reading Superman Adventures, Batman Adventures, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, I mean, I read the mainstream stuff too, but trying to get me out of my comfort zone outside Batman, Robin, and Ninja Turtles, that was a tough sell.
He was a DC boy, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right, next up, speaking of DC,
Yep.
we do love our Bat books. This is Detective Comics number 1040.
All right, so this ongoing story, and we've talked about it, where Bruce Wayne is accused of murdering this gangster's daughter, and this oversized gangster, it looks like he's some kind of metahuman, but they never say anything about it, is coming after him, and I saw there's this one part of the story where Bruce Wayne turns himself back into GCPD after the last precinct that were holding him in blew up. And this drunk guy comes to him and tells him, Bruce Wayne, wink, wink, about the time he met Batman. Go figure why he would be telling Bruce Wayne that story. And, we see what the gangster is up to. I think his name is March. I couldn't swear to that. And we see what he's going to be up to in the next issue. Doesn't bode well for Batman or Bruce Wayne. And then we see the Beast story on here, which usually I don't like the Beast stories because
they usually suck.
Yeah, I mean, usually the the quality in both the writing and the artwork goes down. But actually, I kind of enjoyed this one. This one wasn't too bad. So good 2 solid stories in this issue, Detective Comics number 1040, and that gets 3.5 shields.
All right, next up with 3.5 shields also is Robin number 4. We've been liking this book since the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story. I'm not super crazy about the artwork. I mean, it's okay. But the story is good. Robin is, or Damian, just to, alleviate any confusion. Damian is on the island of this martial arts tournament, sort of like Mortal Kombat, and he's visited by his grandfather, who's trying to tell him to, abandon this mission, that this tournament is foolish, and Damian, being a stubborn teenager, doesn't want to listen to him.
Well, for those of you who don't know, his grandpappy is Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't be too inclined to listen to him anyways. So then we see some old friends try to visit Damian at the end, which continues into the next issue. So makes you look forward to that. Mm-hmm. So like I said, artwork, but still ends up with 3.5 shields.
Well, the artwork was adequate. It told the story and it wasn't distracting. So we both gave it 3 shields for ours. So.
Right.
All right, and last of our honorable mentions are books that were pretty good. Mm-hmm. BRZRKR number 4. It's brought to us by Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. If this one's been kind of making some headlines because Keanu Reeves is attached to it, and the thing has a interesting premise. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a super original premise, but it's interesting. He was born from a god and a human woman in ancient tribal times. He's a demigod, and once he goes berserk, hence the name BRZRKR, he's pretty much indestructible. He's retelling this to his shrink in modern times, and telling her all these stories. After you get past the basic premise, there's really not a whole lot to the story, because a lot of these issues, and this is issue number 4, the last 3 issues have felt kind of the same, where it's a lot of splash pages, where he's just going crazy and just hacking and slashing through all of the tribes that oppose his own. So
I feel like these first 4 issues have been basically the setup issues. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to where we're going to go to 3 issues from now.
Yeah, I mean, interesting to see it. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I mean, there's not a whole lot to it, but still, I mean, it's a good story. So, 3.5 shields for BRZRKR number 4.
All right, so
here's our honorable mentions who just got edged out of the top 3.
Yeah, pretty good stuff.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us to our top 3 for the week.
All right, so leading off with number 3, a character that's always been dear to my heart, and a book that we started reading, I don't know, 5-6 issues ago. But pretty good stuff.
Yep.
And it's Daredevil number 32.
All right, so in this issue, Elektra is carrying on as Daredevil, while Matt Murdock, or the other Daredevil, since his identity is not known while he's in prison, which...
Right. It's not Matt Murdock who's in prison, it's Daredevil.
Yeah, he has the mask on while he's in prison, and I don't know how he managed to swing that, but he did.
Yeah, we missed that issue, but his brother, Mike Murdock, his twin brother, is posing as Matt, so nobody will catch on.
So, in this issue, Bullseye is on the loose, and he's going on a rampage, killing people at random.
Yeah, he's doing that serial killer craziness.
Yeah, and the entire superhero community is looking for him, and
I don't understand how you can not find him. I mean, Spider-Man's got his Spidey sense. He should be able to tune in on Bullseye, for goodness sakes. Bullseye doesn't have any superpowers to speak of. I mean, he doesn't miss. That's about it. Why can't they find him? That's silly.
Yeah, so one of our Avengers gives Elektra the 411 on what they're doing to help find Bullseye. Also, we see there was an interesting subplot here where one of our gangsters goes after Hammerhead, one of Spider-Man's, I guess, C-listers. And
one of his gangster villains.
Yeah, and Hammerhead, I guess you could call him, closer to a comic relief villain, because I mean he's got a hard head. Yeah,
he's got a big flat hard. Yeah.
So this guy, he's used to fighting Spider-Man, and this guy goes after Hammerhead brutally. I mean, he says, I know you're used to fighting superheroes in red and blue pajamas, but I'm playing to win. So that was sort of an interesting subplot there. And then finally, we see Elektra at the end of the issue learn a revelation about Bullseye, which does not bode well for her.
Well, in case some of y'all haven't been following Daredevil and Elektra for a while, there was a storyline where Elektra got killed by Bullseye.
Yep. Of which we have the issue available at our garage sale. All right.
Yeah, we do.
Yep.
All
So
right,
that comes in number 3 with 3.5 shields.
And number 2, the United States of my man, Captain America, number 2.
All right. So in this story, Cap, Steve Rogers, has learned that there's a whole network of people calling themselves Captain America throughout the United States. And he's talked to a few of them now, and they say that they get it. He has big picture stuff to do, fighting supervillains and alien invasions and stuff. So they have taken it upon themselves to look out for the little guy, to do the small things that Captain America doesn't have time for. Like this young woman in this small town somewhere in the U.S. She's looking out for her hometown, and I think she's fighting to get clean water for the town after a disaster.
Kind of like Flint, Michigan.
Yeah. And so, Steve and Sam visit the town and try to, root out what's happening here. The whole time they're being dogged by a couple of supervillains, including a guy who's masquerading as Captain America, and in the previous issue stole his shield.
Okay, Captain America should have a shield.
Mm-hmm.
And can't our guys in Wakanda ship him a temporary?
He had a temporary shield that Tony made for him, but it ends up not working out.
Well, Wakanda knows how to do stuff right, so
yeah.
Send him a shield, guys. Come on.
So some interesting stuff here. I've been enjoying this one. That's why it comes in at number 2, 3.5 shields.
All right. Next up, and what can I say? Right there on the cover, wielding a beard and an axe, it's still my man, Captain America, in Amazing Fantasy number 1.
So you guys may remember. Well, I mean, probably don't remember.
I remember.
Yeah, if you're not, as old as the old man here. There was a Amazing Fantasy series back in the 60s. And most of the issues, they dealt with actual, fantasy sci-fi stories. And it was a standalone story each time, like maybe 3 stories each issue.
Most of those books back then, Tales to Astonish, Tales to Suspense, Journey into Mystery, they were all about science fiction and monster stories.
Right.
And they usually ran, 2 featurettes and then a real short story in every issue. I mean, it wasn't just one full story.
Right. So they did that for 15 issues, and you guys may recall that Amazing Fantasy is the series that gave birth to Spider-Man. If you've never heard the story, what happened was Stan Lee and Steve Ditko came up with Spider-Man, and their publisher, I believe his name was Martin Goodman, didn't like the character, didn't want to use him.
Totally rejected it.
Yeah. So Stan knew that Amazing Fantasy was going to be ending with the 15th issue.
Yeah. After 15, it was donezo.
Yeah, it wasn't selling so well, so they decided to end the series. So
let's face it, number 15 is a throwaway issue.
Right.
Who cares?
So Stan decided, what the hell? I'll put Spider-Man into the last issue.
So you're saying he pulled that better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission?
Exactly.
Good job, Stan.
So he put it in the 15th issue, put it out, and about a month later, Goodman gets the sales figures, comes back to Stan and says, "Hey, Stan, remember that Spider-Man character we both liked?" And that's what gave birth to the Amazing Spider-Man series.
Good job, guys.
So now Marvel has brought back the Amazing Fantasy series, but the premise is a little mixed this time.
Oh, it's totally different.
Yeah, they're taking modern superheroes like Captain America and Spider-Man and putting them into a fantasy setting. What happens is, guys like Cap and Spider-Man, they're going about their daily superhero routine, and then, flash of light or something, and all of a sudden they wake up and they're on an island or land with, monsters and goblins and all kinds of weird stuff going on.
Well, I think in tribute to the original comic, they do divide it up into 3 sections. I mean, you've got Cap gets into a situation, and then a new story starts where you see another character's point of view, and then even a third character's point of view, yet the same things kind of happen in all 3 of them.
Right.
Now, this is a limited series. I would love if they made it go 15 issues if they want to really do tribute to.
Well,
but I don't think so.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be, this is number 1 of 5, according to the cover, so.
Oh, well.
All right.
Still cool.
So, yeah, still great stuff, great artwork, and that's why it ends up at number 1 with 3.5 shields. All right, so there's your top 3 and also our 4 mentions. It just got barely edged out. Same score, but, we had to rank them once we gave them the same score. So that's how we ended up with our top 3.
Right. In other words, EMoney didn't like those 4 as much as these 3. Because he could type faster than the old man.
Guess so.
We need to do a what-if episode on this particular one.
All right, so what do we got coming up for this week?
All right, this week it looks like we've got another Bat book, Batman number 111. Really enjoying all the Bat books. We've got a new Joker book, I think. I don't know a lot about it. It's titled The Joker Presents a Puzzle Box, number 1. As far as I know, it's a puzzle book. I mean, it could be anything, but...
Well, I'm always skeptical about spin-off issues or spin-off series.
You throw a Joker on a cover, I'm probably going to pick it up.
Okay.
All right, Geiger, the Image comic, comes out, number 5. That's been a really great storyline. Tankers number 3 is on the schedule, but since it's from the company called Bad Idea, you never know if it's going to be out the week it's supposed to be or if it might get delayed a week. So we'll see. But the thing I'm most looking forward to, and I bet you are too, is The Nice House on the Lake number 3.
Okay, yeah.
That has been a really good fantasy, science fiction / horror story.
And
good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, but you know what? It would easily take the top spot every week if it just had better artwork.
Yeah, the artwork it kind of reminds me of the Department of Truth.
Yep.
The Department of Truth has got a great story. I mean, they're talking about doing a TV series. I think Netflix is looking at it.
Artwork is ugly as hell.
The artwork is horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, there's panels in Department of Truth that I look at it and
You don't even know what the hell's going on.
What is that supposed to be?
Yeah.
So
I don't know how. I mean, I don't know what artists are doing when they do stuff like that, and I don't know what publishers are doing when they let it go. But
I did a catch up on Department of Truth. I bought the first 5 issues in a trade. Guys at Comic Book World helped me round up the other 5, and then number 11 came out last week. And I'm going to read that because it's the last of a 2-issue story arc about Bigfoot. But then I'm going to shelve it for a while. I'm not going to keep picking them up. It's too ugly.
Okay. All right, so there you have our recommendations for this week, and also, go to your local comic book shop and pick up these back issues if you haven't gotten them already.
If you go to Comic Book World, tell them EMoney and the old man sent you.
All right, so we were talking about Amazing Spider-Man earlier, so I have a Amazing Spider-Man related question for Stump the Old Man this week.
Man, how come you can't just forget that once in a while? Just let it slide on by you.
Well, then what are we going to do with Thor in the garage?
Scratching behind the ears. I don't care.
All right, let's head back up into the garage with Thor. All right, back out here in the garage with Thor with an all-new Stump the Old Man question, and it's sort of related to our garage sale, which we have it here every Saturday. So we sell a lot of comic books out here, and I'm kind of proud of our Amazing Spider-Man line that we have on the racks every week. So this one thing that we never got was we have a lot of early Spider-Man stuff, some John Romita era stuff.
Well, early is relative.
So we never had gotten anything below issue number 50. So that's why I was so thrilled when we got this. Amazing Spider-Man number 44, second appearance of the Lizard. A very early John Romita issue. And so once we had gotten this, I started thinking, hey, the next thing on the Amazing Spider-Man bucket list for us to get is a Steve Ditko issue. The co-creator of Spider-Man with Stan Lee.
So where are you going with all this?
So it got me thinking, I wanted to, zero in on what Ditko's last issue was. So that is my question to you, the old man. What is the final issue that Steve Ditko did of Amazing Spider-Man?
It was in the 30s. Romita's first one, it's got the Green Goblin flying with Spider-Man all bound up, no mask, being drugged behind him through the air. Now, what number was that? Because that was his first one by Romita. I think it was 39. So I'm going to say Ditko's last was 38.
That is correct. That was Steve Ditko's final issue of Amazing Spider-Man number 38 after he left Marvel in a dispute with Stan Lee. He would not return to the company until 2009, where he did an issue of Amazing Spider-Man number 601. Very, very special issue. So there you have it. So there's Stump the Old Man. The old man wins this round.
And here's the prize. Nom, nom, nom. No. Can't do that.
All right, so that does it for another episode of Back Issues. Be sure to tune in next week for our comic reviews and previews, and for more of Thor's journey through life, right? Yeah. And also Stump the Old Man. I need to get a what's the other thing I did? Movieism. I need to get a movieism soon.
Yes, you should.
Well, when I think
week.
of one, I will put it on the show here.
Every week.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Excelsior.
True believers, when the old man used to collect comics, I collected runs. I had to have them all. Whatever title I was working on, I had to have them all. I did a good job with most of the Marvel titles. Nowadays, people are more interested in collecting keys. What do you want? You want one of these? And sometimes they'll get a story arc or a trade paperback, which is fine. You collect however you want to. How do you collect? Leave a comment.